I am here today to tell you about my favorite scientists, Wilhelm Roentgen, Antoine Becquerel, and Marie-Pierre Curie. One of my favorite scientists is Wilhelm Conrad Roentgen. In the quaint town of Lennep, Germany, Wilhelm was born on March 27, 1845. He grew up as an only child and attended Martinus Hermann van Doorn, a boarding school. As a child he was not extremely bright, but he was fascinated with nature. He then went on to a technical school, but was expelled after being associated with a prank on a teacher of his. After, Roentgen studied chemical engineering at Federal Polytechnic Institute under Kundt and Clausius. In 1869, he received a Ph.D. from the University of Zurich. He went with Kundt and assisted him at Würzburg and Strasbourg universities. He was offered many positions as chairs and even a presidency at many different universities, but he declined them. He was a very humble man. Though, at the University of Würzburg, he became the honorary degree of Doctor of Medicine. In 1901, for his discovery, he won the very first Nobel Prize in Physics. Roentgen made his discovery by accident during an experiment. He was studying cathode rays, which are, as stated by nobelprize.org, the passage of electric current through a gas of extremely low pressure. While in a dark room, he put a discharge tube in a carton that was black, so that no light could enter, and had a paper plate covering one side. Roentgen tested several different objects with different thicknesses that were in the paths of rays, but he found that the rays were fluorescent. When he used photographic plates, these objects were transparent in the image. Wilhelm even decided to try his wife's hand and found that the image showed her bones and ring. Roentgen named his discovery of these unknown rays X-rays. Another one of my favorite scientists is Antoine-Henri Becquerel. He was born in Paris on December 15, 1952. As a child, Becquerel grew up around science because his grandfather was a major role in studying the field of electrochemistry. Fluorescence and phosphorescence was the main focus area of study for Antoine's father. Becquerel went to Lycée Louis-le-Grand for his early education. At École Polytechnique he received his education for science, and at Bridges and Highways School he received his training for engineering. Becquerel held positions for engineering, teaching, and being the chair of physics at Bridges and Highways and École Polytechnique. For his discovery, Becquerel won the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1903. Becquerel made his discovery by accident, during his experiments, one of which would be that he placed uranium salt crystals on photographic plates. He exposed these uranium salt crystals to different intensities of light. Becquerel observed that the intensity of light didn't have an effect on the amount of radiation produced. Becquerel discovered that uranium gives off radiation like X-rays. Marie and Pierre Curie are also part of my favorite scientists list. In 1867, Marie was born in Warsaw. Marie grew up with a sister and her parents, who were both teachers. They stressed to their children that education was very important. Marie's father was the first to teach Marie some physics and chemistry. Marie very much wanted to go to Sorbonne in Paris to study both mathematics and physics, but her family did not have the financial means to send her. She worked and went to study when she was 24 years old. After only 2 years in Paris, Marie got her degree in physics, and a year later she got a degree in mathematics. Marie and Pierre met in 1984. They got married and began studying X-rays and radiation together. For their discovery, they received the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1903. After Pierre died, Marie won a second Nobel Prize in Physics. She was the first to do so. The Curies used piezoelectric techniques in their experiment. As stated in the medical dictionary at dictionary.reference.com, piezoelectricity is electricity or electric polarity due to pressure, especially in a crystalline substance. They studied radiation in ores containing uranium. They observed that there was a greater amount of radiation emitted by the ores than uranium by itself. So, they inferred that other elements must give off radiation, like uranium. Marie Curie was the first scientist to use the term radioactive to describe that when elements give off radiation, their nuclei breaks down. Together, Marie and her husband Pierre discovered new elements that also give off radiation, such as radium and polonium. All of these scientists helped change atoms because they discovered a new atomic property of matter, radiation. Also, that you can measure the rate of emitted radiation of charged particles from atoms. Even though they discovered a lot about radiation, they didn't change much about the actual structure of the atom. These scientists dramatically changed Dalton's atomic theory by disproving the statement, atoms are indivisible and indestructible. They disproved this when finding that radiation occurs when the nuclei in atoms break down. In Abby, Becky, and Bill's experiment, they set up a detector for radioactivity and tested the radioactivity of several different objects. They also tested alpha, beta, and gamma rays. The results of their experiment was that alpha rays are the least radioactive and gamma rays are the most radioactive. Their experiment relates to the scientists' experiments because the scientists measured alpha, beta, and gamma rays. Also, the gamma rays are used in X-rays. These scientists have had a huge impact on our world today. Today we may fear too much radiation, but there is radiation everywhere. Many household items may emit radiation such as smoke detectors, watches, camera lenses, jewelry, rocks, minerals, pottery, and furniture. Radiation is not harmful at a certain level. When measuring radiation, there is a background count of usually 20 counts per minute. To go beyond 200 Mr. per year is considered dangerous by the US government. Radiation is used to treat cancer. Radioactive cell substances are placed in cells to break down the cancerous atoms that make up these cells. Today X-rays are used for many purposes, such as to look at bones in the body and teeth. Doctors can detect fractured or broken bones, and dentists can detect cavities and the location of teeth when using X-rays. In conclusion, my favorite scientists have greatly impacted the science field and our world today.